I just wanted to hop on here and give you an update. Unfortunately, it's not a good one, but at the same time, it is. I ended up having to take Ayah in at 9:15 this morning to have her humanely euthanized. She had been doing great yesterday morning, and I was really excited because yesterday marked her being a week old, which is phenomenal for a puppy with her condition. And at about noon, things kind of started going downhill, and it wasn't fast, and so I wasn't too concerned. And I know that sometimes puppies around day 5 to 10 can kind of get gas buildup in their stomach, and especially if you're bottle feeding them. And so I called my vet because she had been passing a lot of gas, and I talked to him and I said, if I'm massaging her belly and burping her, is there any more that I can do? And they said, that's awesome, you're doing that, keep that up. And they said, if her stomach starts getting distended, then you'll be worried. And it never really got bloated big. I could feel that there was something there, but that could have been her tensing her stomach up. And puppies born with this condition normally have more than just that birth defect that's visual, and she could have had something internally that I couldn't see, and once she hit a certain age or a certain weight, something inside could have stopped working or shutting down. But she was, what I would say for her would be similar to a dog pacing, because she'd pull herself up and she'd go around in a circle. I ended up sitting up with her all night last night, and I tried comforting her, but it just got to the point where I would try feeding her every hour, and we went from every 2.5 to 3 hours feeding her, and she was doing great and getting 4 grams of food into her to barely getting 1 gram, and then it dwindling down. And while I was in there with her, she was crying more often, and she ended up letting out a really, really loud cry. And so I got some CBD and gave her a few drops, and that helped calm her down. But even with that, I could hear her whimpering. And so that's when I decided, as soon as my vet clinic opened in the morning, that I was going to call and ask them if I could get her in as soon as possible. And they opened at 8, and they got her in at 9:15. And they were super busy, but they were nice enough to do that for me. So I took her in at 9:15, and the vet was really nice. It was the same vet that I took her to the first time a week ago. And they took her back, gave her some gas, because she was too small for a shot, which I'm glad that they did that, because I don't want her to have to go through having a shot. I'd rather, have them put some gas in her like they do for surgeries to get her to sleep, and then give her that final shot so she doesn't feel it. But they gave her some gas, and they brought her back to let me see her for about a minute. And then they took her back, and they gave her that final shot, which they normally give into a vein or something. But because she's so tiny, that's kind of hard, and so they had to do it into her chest. But she lived for 8 days, which is amazing, beyond amazing. That's why she's my little miracle. But I ended up taking her down to a pet crematory down in Ogden, and I got this for her, and she's inside there, so I can have her with me all the time. And they were nice enough. I asked them if they could do all 4 of her feet, and so they did multiple prints of them, and they gave me this sheet, and it kind of looks like she's walking, which is really fun. And I ended up picking up a necklace too that will be in a couple of weeks, that will have her ashes. And I know I only had her for 8 days, but from day one, from 3 seconds after I picked her up, I was attached. And I'm the type of person, if you ask anybody that knows me, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and everything's at the top, and I'm 100% upfront and honest about it. So, she was amazing, and I gave her, and this is the way I need to look at it, is I gave her 8 days of life where she probably would have been left off to the side. And when I picked her up, she was cold and barely moving, but she fought through that, and she had been like that for 6 hours, which is even more incredible, the fact that she fought and she came back from that. But I gave her 8 days of life, where the longest puppy to ever live with this was 3. And I know she didn't want to go, but she was trying to fight through pain, and we all know what that is like when dogs are in pain, and they're trying to fight through it, and it's something that she wouldn't have ever gotten any sleep, and I didn't want her to go out trying to fight and go through that. That's why I made that decision to have her put down. I saw in one of the comments, and I have been reading them. I know I haven't been replying, and that's because just everything that's been going on. But she had an anencephaly on the top of her head, and that is underdevelopment of the skull and brain. And she was doing really good. She had her motor functions, and we found out yesterday morning that she could hear. We had a vacuum on just outside the door, and as soon as that was on, you know, she stood up and she opened her mouth, and we turned it off and she laid back down. And so she could hear, and normally they say that these dogs aren't going to be able to hear. And I think her eyes were just about ready to open. They probably would have opened tomorrow had she still been here. So she was doing great considering everything and considering this condition. I made a PowerPoint for her. I made it 2 days ago that goes into detail about her condition, so I can inform you guys. I was going to do that yesterday and post it, but I was too busy worrying about her to get that on there. But I think it's important that you guys understand what she had and why it is such a miracle that she made it 8 days. And that's what I need to keep telling myself. Is I gave her 8 days of knowing what love and care and being loved and being cared for felt like for her. And I know she knows that she was loved. But yeah, I will get that posted. I'd also made a couple of TikTok videos for her a couple of days ago, and I ended up compiling both of them, and so I'll put that video on this video at the end so you guys can see it. But tomorrow I will post both of those other videos just as videos. I won't be talking in them, so there will be two other videos of the ones that I made for her, and then there will be the video of me kind of going over her condition with you guys. But I will let you guys go, and thank you again for all the love and the support and the motivation and cheering her on and the prayers sent her way. And thank you again to the Rotty Channel and Collin for encouraging me to do this. And I know it was going to be hard when we hit this point, and honestly I didn't know when it would be, but this gives me something really good to remember her by. And it's something I'm never going to forget, and she's always going to be inside my heart for forever. And so just thank you guys. I will throw that video up now, and I will post those other ones tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I